Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Jace, aka Skizzy. Welcome back to the channel. Today, obviously by the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about how to build a Guardian XP farm, as well as getting prismarine bricks, regular prismarine and sea lanterns, as well as some fish, and also, as you know, some XP. We're going to be building that in today's episode. I'm going to show you guys everything you need to do, some tips and tricks, and just basically an overall tutorial. The reason I am not going to give you guys a straight material list, I'm just going to show you guys what you need, is because how you build this, how big you build this, and the dimensions are completely up to you and how much time you want to put into this. I do want to say the smaller you build it, the faster you are obviously going to build it, and the larger it is, maybe the more guardians you'll get, but it is going to be exponentially harder to do and a lot more work. I have already spent hours upon hours well into the night and well into the morning building the just beginning of this farm. I haven't even started building this farm. Just the prerequisites going up into it takes hours upon hours. So if you guys want to build this farm, just know it is going to take quite a bit of time, as well as a bunch of materials, but it will be worth it in the end. I do want to eventually build with some of these blocks and get a very fast XP farm, which this farm is. So I'm super excited and can't wait to get it all done. If I turn behind me, you guys can see that I have added some things over here, and it doesn't look the same as last time. We have done a lot of work, like I said. We've added a nether portal. We have added some shulker boxes that are filled with soul sand and sponges that I got from another guardian temple. We have added some chests that are filled with some building blocks and some of the materials we might need. Really quick, I want to show you guys this farm from up above. Wow, this farm just looks absolutely crazy right now. We have a bunch of sectioned off parts, bunch of walls, and the reason that is to increase the efficiency of this farm and take away some of the spawning spaces from these guys right here. You guys can see that they're jumping up and down, and that has to do with the soul sand that I put at the bottom, and all the water source blocks coming up is going to push these guys to the ceiling and make this farm basically how it's going to work. To give you guys a quick little rundown how this is going to work, those guardians are going to spawn, and they're only going to be able to spawn in that middle water section because all of the rest around it is completely unspawnable to them. If they don't have water, there's no way for them to spawn. Let me go ahead and go in this chest. You guys can see that I've brought over a ton of stuff, some building blocks, wood, just some water buckets that we might need down the road. We are going to need those, and once we place the water, good thing we have a bunch of water around us to refill those. We are going to need a lot of fence gates. This might be a little bit of overkill, but I just didn't want to have to go all the way back or go around here to get some wood. Basically how this is going to work, like I said though, these guys are going to get pushed to this top, and up top of this water right here is going to be more water that is flowing and pushing them in a single direction. I believe I'm going to push them that way. Once they go that way, all the way to the other side, they are going to get sucked up into a tube that is going to go up, take them away from the available spawn spots at the bottom, and then more can spawn. Once they come up this tube, they're going to fall down into a little killing chamber, taking some fall damage to get them to some lower hearts, because they do have thorns, which means if we hit them, the more we hit them, we're going to take more damage. So eventually I'm going to get a beacon down here, but that is enough talking. Let's go ahead and go back to this chest over here with all of the materials we might need. And let's go ahead and look through here and see what we might need out of here. We're definitely going to need some building blocks, some water for sure, as well as some fence gates. I think I'm going to get the fence gates in first, and I'm going to go ahead and just jump cut to the next scene where I have all those in place, because I think it might be easier for you guys to kind of decipher how this works if you guys see it all in place at one time. So after a long amount of time and a lot of damage later, let's go ahead and eat up here. We have placed in all the water in all of the fence gates. I'm gonna show you guys kind of how it works. I need to kind of get out of these guys' sight, so let's go ahead and hop up here if we can. And oh my gosh, there's so many just building up down there. But as you guys can see, these guys are popping up, and they are getting caught by the water that is already there, and it is pushing them in a direction. I got the greatest idea of having two tunnels, or I guess like tubes that are going to push the guardians, like let's say up and over into the middle and then down somewhere. I don't know, it's just something kind of creative I came up with. It is going to be a little bit more work, and I don't actually recommend doing that because it does make the fencing and like the fence gates and stuff a little bit more complicated. So if you guys can see, the Guardians are getting like popped up to the top water here and then getting pushed over, as you guys saw with that one. And they're getting pushed over to here and then pushed over into the middle and then down over here. The way it basically works is you place down a line of fence gates, and then you place water on top of it, pushing in the direction you want. So an easy way to think about it is think about like a spider farm or something, where you have the same water techniques that you normally would use with pushing mobs, except under those blocks that are pushing, or under the water blocks, you need fence gates, and that allows them to come up and through them, but the water actually can't go through it. So under these fence gates is actually basically a water block, and then you have the air block of fence gates that is open so that the Guardians can go through them. And then lastly, on top of those, you have another water block pushing in the direction you want to go. This is a very complicated system, so if you guys are thinking about building this, I would highly recommend maybe trying it in creative and getting really used to using the fence gates and the water techniques. Something you can do to make water stop is use fence gates again, open them. As you guys can see with this line of fence gates right here, I didn't want the water to keep going. I wanted it to actually stop, and that kept the water from going over there. And then right here, the same thing. Because the blocks right here is only 4, the water would continue to push in the same direction, and I didn't want that. I wanted there to be air blocks so that they would fall down onto another water block that pushes them in this direction, that makes them fall down here. Wow, this is really complicated. Trying to explain it is very hard. It makes sense in my head. What I would recommend, like I said though, is trying it out in creative. So we are currently on my camera account, and I'm going to use this to try to explain this to you guys. So the very first thing is to put soul sand down and make sure that all of these blocks here are water blocks, full source blocks, and then you're going to get some bubbles. And then if you guys can see right here, water is always going to go all the way to the top of the fence gate. So right underneath it is where the water should always be. There should never be just a full block of air that isn't touching water and or fence gates. So just like right here, we have everything in place, all the water going straight up to it. And then fence gates are basically the blocks that are going to support the water up above. So what's going to happen, just to show you guys, is, I went through that. The Guardians are going to spawn here because it's the only place they can spawn. They are going to get shot up like this, and they get shot pretty high, as you guys probably saw at the beginning. And they're going to land on this water right here. They're going to swim, get pushed, swim, get pushed. And then because these guys are transparent, because they are open, that is very important. They're going to get pushed through that, land on this water right here, and then start swimming again, and then land in this water right here because those guys are open once again, get pushed this way. And then right here is where we're going to have our tube that goes up that I'm going to build here in a little bit and show you guys how to do. Basically, like I said in the beginning, this is completely up to you and how you want to do it. I don't want to show you guys a complete yes, do it this way, because it might be a little too hard for some people and might be too easy. So I went ahead and did a medium farm and kind of gave it my own little twist, which I always recommend is getting a little creative. But just remember the basic water techniques of how water works. Water always flows in 8 blocks. So right here, there's only 4. So I wanted to make it stop right here with these fence gates right here so that they would fall down to this water right here. And the way you're going to do this is making it very multi-layered, and just making sure that the water goes all the way up to that. I don't recommend building the fence gates into the water. I recommend building the first fence gate at the water. So the water was only here, and I placed those fence gates on top of that water, and then I actually had to come in here and place water inside super fast. It is super easy if you do that though, because water is going to create source blocks. If you place a water here and over there, it's basically going to cover the whole blocking system, and then you might need one over here and over there. You only need a few buckets to really get this whole thing going. I know that was a very crude explanation of this thing, but like I said before, I highly recommend trying it in creative and seeing what you can do and all that jazz before you actually start building this. What I'm going to do now, though, is block this off so that we can actually start working on the tube that is going to pick them up and drop them back down. I need to actually grab some materials, And I'm going to go ahead and build kind of the roughness of it, and then show you guys kind of what it looks like. Before we start building the tube, we need to go on a massive sand hunt. We do not have nearly enough sand to get all of the glass that we need for this tube. I am only going to build one of the tubes on camera, so I am predicting we need at least like half of a shulker box, maybe a little bit more of sand in order to get enough glass to make the whole tube see-through. I am just currently a little bit over to the right of our Guardian farm on some islands I saw had a bunch of sand. So I'm gonna go ahead and gather up a bunch of this stuff right here before we start building the tube. Then I'm gonna go ahead and start building the tube and get that all in place and looking nice and snazzy, and then I will show you guys the final product. After a lot of time and several iterations of different attempts and a bunch of scaffolding taken out and a bunch of blocks used and smelted up, we are finally here. We have the very first tube in place. I haven't done the other side yet, and I'm probably just going to do that off camera so that I don't waste a ton of time here because I am running out of time. Lastly, we need to build the killing system, but I'm going to do that after I explain how this works to you guys. How this works, these guys obviously get attracted over here by the water. They get pushed a little bit more. There's an air block. I couldn't actually get around that, and I wasn't sure how to kind of, replace that, but it does work anyway. It's not a big deal. It doesn't really hold them up that long. There is some soul sand right here that is going to push all of the guardians up like that, and then there are some signs that allow me to redirect the water this way. So there is a little gap, and sometimes the guardians do get caught in that gap, which is probably the only issue that I've really had with this. The water, like I said, is redirected over here. So as you guys can see, he gets caught right there. That was what I was talking about. They get redirected over here, drop down again, water, drop down one more time, water over here. And what I did is actually kind of reverse build this and built the platform that they're going to fall down first, and then built up 30 blocks because that is the perfect amount to get them down to about 1 heart of fall damage, depending on whether or not they jump or don't jump at this very last little water block right here. They fall all the way down, and right here we can add our killing area, and we need to add a giant storage system. I'm probably not going to make a sorting system, but more so just a bunch of chests that pick up all of the items here. So as you guys can see, we have a ton of guardians, and this is only half of it. This farm is so efficient and so crazy, and it's taken me well over a day to build, or to get to this point. It has taken me well over a day's time, so be prepared for that. It does take a lot of time, as well as a lot of perseverance and damage taken and all that jazz. You're gonna get hit a ton, and it's gonna be extremely annoying, but once you kind of start getting all of this in and start kind of moving along and whatnot, it actually goes pretty fast towards like the middle area. Once these are filled in, or once these are taken out and then these are taken out, it all kind of works itself out. Lastly, we need to add in the killing system, and to do that, we're going to need some trapdoors that I have not crafted up yet. We might actually need to go mine some wood. I think there's a tree over here. Okay, perfect. That should do enough. We'll just use birch, I guess, for now, because we're completely out of wood, and I've used it all, so we need to go do that super quick, and then this farm is basically done. So we have placed in the killing system, and as you guys can see, it is comprised of 6 trapdoors, 3 up top that are not opened and 3 at the bottom that are opened, so that there is less than a block gap in here, so you can still hit them. And I do want to say really quick, if you come up here, you guys can see that they will shoot rays at you, but because they're jumping up and down, coming in and out of your sight, they'll never actually be able to hit you fully unless you go like really close up to them. Then they might be able to hit you like once or something, but that's pretty rare. I need to get rid of some of the scaffolding and stuff. I kind of forgot to do that. We have some hoppers that are in place, and we have a chest as well. So this is going to be our very first attempt at killing these guys and getting some drops. So let's go ahead and do that. As you guys can see, they are just one hits with a nice sword just like that. Wow. All right, let's go ahead and get this XP. We can even, kind of use our mending up. I might actually go back and get some carpet, or I'll bring that later when I do some off-camera stuff. But placing down some carpet right here will make it so that the XP doesn't go inside the hopper. Let's go down here. I do have looting 3 on my sword. Oh yeah, we are getting some drops. Let's go. Alrighty. And just like that, we have some drops. I've spent way way too long doing this, and wow, but it has paid off, and we aren't even fully done. We're actually even only running at half staff right now, which is pretty crazy to me. But guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I have put so much time into this, so much time. Like I said before, I highly recommend just maybe trying out the water system and how to push them in creative, or do something like that. Or you know what, even better, if someone has a better tutorial than me, go watch their video too, and hopefully between mine and theirs you can get a very good grasp of how to build guardian farms. I'm very excited. We are getting some crazy cool XP and some new blocks that we are eventually going to start building with. I had the idea of maybe just getting all of our farms in place and getting really end game before we start building our base this time, so then we can build a better base and have a lot better palette going versus last time. And instead of using all concrete and stuff, I want to actually try and incorporate a little bit more decoration in my builds. But I'm gonna stop rambling. But if you guys like this video, please leave a like on it, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.